he looks at me and he says, "Hey." I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "You're breathing?" And I'm like, "I know." And he said, "Can you look away from the microphone?" And I'm like,
hello, and welcome everyone to episode 64 of The Mashup, the best bourbon conversation you're going to hear all week long. We're your hosts, Michael, Anthony, and Steven. Hello, sir. Sit next to me.
"How are you doing?"
Oh, fantastic.
You were a little bit light on your hello tonight.
Well, third time's the charm.
I wanted to, make it a little bit longer, See, there you go. He got it.
Yeah. So did you hear what I just did there?
What'd you do? Oh, you're doing a little sniffle?
It is sniffle.
The freaking allergy season has officially hit in Lexington, and it is god-awful.
Every evening around like pre-dusk, my nose starts going crazy. I don't know what it is.
And you guys may have noticed, if you're very careful listeners, and we hope you are, that I'm a little bit breathy around the microphone. And I need to explain, okay? Yeah, Steven's over here.
I've never noticed it.
So Steven's a big editor, and he's like, he looked at me the one day, and he goes, "Hey, man," like it was right before we're about to record. So talk about a confidence killer. We're ready to record, and he looks at me, and he says, "Hey." I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "You're breathing?" And I'm like, "I know." And he said, "Can you look away from the microphone?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I will." But then I actually went and saw my allergist, and she told me that...
She heard it you on the mashup?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, she didn't hear it. She basically said, you need to be on a maintenance medication for your breathing because I have very severe allergies. And I started that medication probably like a week ago. And now I'm not so breathy on the microphone, but I am fighting severe allergies because of the pollen count around here.
Right, yeah.
And so what else do you want me to talk about here? The fact that you have a long-haired cat? Steven's cat. What's the cat's name again? What's the real name? 8 times over. So I've called the cat Mr. Wiggles. I've also yelled Denise. I don't know where that came from. I yelled Denise at the cat. But Steven has a long-haired cat, and I'm actually one of those people that has like a top, 5% of the world has severe cat allergies. And so we record at Steven's house, but the cat does not bother me by and large. I'm kind of using it as an excuse because of my breathiness, and now you notice that my breathiness has gone away.
Well, I'm one of the rare people that have a purebred.
That's true.
Yeah, so.
No, this is a beautiful cat. What's the cat's actual name, man?
Remy,
see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is a Siberian breed.
He is. He's
large.
He's a big cat, and I actually appreciate him because he doesn't bother me too much. Actually, being that I couldn't be around cats my whole life, I actually quite enjoy the fact that he's hanging out half the time we're recording, looking at us.
Yeah, he does. He likes to bother us.
So we don't have any official shout-outs tonight, but if you give us a review on Apple Podcasts, we will give you a shout-out. We may even give you a ham horn. I got the ham horn. But anyway.
We do have one shout-out for this bottle tonight.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I actually got lucky once, and I actually won something.
Okay.
And I won something on Instagram.
IG contest, yeah.
Yeah, all those ones that say, add yourself, comment with a friend.
Oh, yeah.
All that garbage.
You were always successful in that?
Well, I did once.
Nice.
And it was from our friend Jeff at Bourbon Patriot.
Oh, Bourbon Patriot on Instagram.
Yep. And give him a follow. The bottle we are reviewing tonight came from him.
Oh, awesome. That's really cool. I mean, I never have any luck on any of those things. Randos, nothing.
Yeah.
I'm always striking out. So the fact that you got this from our buddy Bourbon Patriot is pretty cool.
Yep. So tonight's bottle is a bottle of NULU Single Barrel Bourbon.
All right. This is going to be NULU Bourbon coming from the Prohibition Craft Spirits distillery in Louisville. Now, I call it a distillery, but I think right now what they're doing is they're distilling, but they're actually sourcing stuff too. So PCS, the bottle date is 2021. ABV is 56.6. Proof is 113.2. The age is 5 year exactly. And the mash bill is undisclosed, but we know that this comes from MGP because they probably state that on their website. So I don't think it's contract distilled.
So if that's the case, it's not being anything in Louisville.
Yes, but that's true. But it means it's either probably the high or low rye. So we're looking at like a differing corn content in the rye and malted barley content. But the rye would probably be anywhere from 24 to 36, I think, because it's definitely not a wheated or high corn coming from MGP. And MSRP is $60 for this product. But if you're looking at NULU anywhere else,
this is a pick.
Yeah, it's a pick.
Yeah.
So it could be more expensive, and it also could be if it's a different variant. And when I say different variant, they have different finishing processes, different barreling processes. And I have seen NULU as high as, I think, $120 for a double barrel rye.
Well, right off the bat, all these NULU bottles look the same.
That's true.
They all have this cylinder shape. And they look very small. It's one of those things that the 750 looks kind of small.
Yeah, it almost looks like somebody took a bourbon barrel and then slapped like a little short neck on it. That's what it looks like to me. Doesn't it look like, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's they do look like that.
Yeah. One knock on it right off the bat is that when I opened it this evening, the wax went everywhere.
Oh, it crumbled on you?
It like crumbled. I mean, I had to pick it off the ground, the couch, the table. It went everywhere.
The one that reminds me of when you said that is that Old Knob Creek picks. I think they've gotten a little bit better. But the Old Knob Creek picks have I've had some of those disintegrate on me in the same way you're describing. So, that's not fun when you got to pick wax up from everywhere.
So if you've seen one NULU bottle, you've seen them all. The only difference is the wax. And for this single barrel non-chill filter, it's kind of a gold wax.
And I think they do change the wax colors, or they change the look of the stickers. The stickers look very like Buffalo Trace-ish, Do you agree with that?
Point. Yeah.
It's like just a gold sticker with a name on it, and just a single barrel select, which almost looks identical. I wonder if they get them from the same supplier that Buffalo Trace gets them from.
It is just a circle gold sticker. Let's not get all that.
I know, man, but I'm just saying that's my whole thing. I always get upset about the fact that bourbon companies don't do more to market their products.
But that is their thing.
I know.
Yeah.
That is.
That is BT's thing.
It kind of looks like, when you see a BT sticker, that's what it kind of looks like on here. It looks like a BT sticker, only it says Prohibition Craft Spirits.
I guess it's out of Massachusetts.
What? Do you pick?
Yeah, the pick.
I'm not sure, to tell you the truth.
I should have looked it up.
I would assume that if it was coming from them.
I think that's where Jeff is, either Connecticut or Massachusetts area.
Yeah, but he picked this. Do you know if he picked it?
That's a good point. I don't even know.
Yeah, he may. You know what I'm saying? Like if he didn't got it just from somebody else, then I don't think they have wide distribution. So if he got it from someone else, I don't know if it have a personalized sticker on it or whatever. So the one thing that I have to say, in the absence of Michael, I wish he could be here for this episode.
He would have loved this episode.
He would have, because
this has his name written all over it.
In previous episodes, he has, how would you describe it? Do you think he's like overly critical or just steadfast, or what would you say?
When the center aisleways of Total Wine are lined with NULU picks, and NULU wax, and NULU bottles, I mean, I can see where it's coming from.
Yeah, so I think that's a good thing. So you reminded me now. I would call it not in a mean-spirited way. He's just cynical, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so he's just kind of like upset
that it showed up out of nowhere.
Yeah,
and there was 100 variants of it, and the bottles were not cheap.
Yeah, and if you look on PCS's website, they say they've been doing these private picks since 2016, but I think
2016.
Yeah, that's what they have on their website.
I feel like I just saw this product 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's 2 years ago when it started flooding the market in Kentucky. And when I say in Kentucky, it's not really, I don't think it's widely available nationwide. Maybe that's some of the appeal. But we're talking about 4, 5, and 6-year-old MGP rye and bourbon that is twisted and turned in all different ways to make unique products. And I never really found it super appealing at the beginning. I went and bought, I think, one bourbon pick, and then I bought another one, and I bought something else, and I stopped. I think I bought 3 and I stopped.
Okay.
And I didn't have any other experience after that. So that's why this is a fresh crack tonight. I'm excited to try it and see what I think, because I remember not thinking it was worth it. And I think that's kind of what Michael was saying. Like, how do you just come out with all these bottles just everywhere. Everywhere. Like Liquor Barn has them, Total Wine has them. I don't think I've seen them in mass in Kroger's or anything, but I've seen them in a lot of places.
Well, should we go for our first notes?
Sounds good.
Well, I've got caramel.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. You got a lot of that.
And a little bit of soda.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, but it's funny. It's caramel and it's soda, but it's not like there's not a lot going on. It's just kind of there.
And not much ethanol.
Yeah, not much ethanol. For 113 especially. But it's overwhelmingly caramel. I'm actually trying to identify something else.
Man, it's hard.
That. Unfortunately, like I'm for the first time, I think in quite a few episodes, I'm not.
I got a little butterscotch.
Oh, a little butterscotch. Yeah. Okay. The only thing that I can contribute at all of this is a slight and very, very slight bit of, double or toasted oak. That's all I'm tasting. Almost like it may have been transferred to another barrel, but probably not because it's 5-year-old product, so nobody's taken it out of the barrel.
We've tried several of little sample bottles of different NULU picks. So of the samples that we've had the double oak straight bourbon, we've had the toasted straight bourbon, the toasted rye,
okay,
the rye that was finished in apple brandy.
Okay, I remember that one.
Yep. And then the it's like the experimental finish series.
I remember that one too.
The bourbon. Yeah, that was in the honey barrels.
Oh, okay, that was not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd say out of those that I've had, I think the double might have been my favorite.
Would you consider yourself a NULU expert then?
At this point,
okay.
I mean, I've had a lot. You
might be.
I mean, this will be my sixth version of it. My Lord.
Did you have the Chianti finish? They don't have one, do they?
I didn't get that sample.
Why not? Where's the Zinfandel barrel finish?
Well, should we go for first taste? I'm going to say again, caramel?
Yes, sir. I will double down. I'll go 2 times caramel.
Yeah.
That's literally all I'm getting. I'm getting like a massive amount in the front, which is not bad. That's a good thing to have.
No. And there's no burn for 113?
Yeah. Definitely
But the finish is non-existent.
Yeah, the finish is actually like kind of a dirt finish, I would say. It's earthy. When I say dirt, I mean the back palate's hitting me like musty barrel. That's what I'm getting on the back palate. But
that's a really good description.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Right. So you said musky.
Yeah, musty kind of barrel finish, which is interesting again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder where it's being stored at. Maybe it's in half underground.
I do have to say, I don't know how in the world you store a barrel of bourbon in a warehouse and it's one-dimensional.
Yeah, that is very odd.
Like, where's this warehouse geographically located?
And is it
the most like blank slated thing within 100 miles of that warehouse? I guess it's Indiana, so there's your answer.
It's a warehouse that's in the middle of Indiana, right in the middle of a wind farm.
I guess.
And it just is one floor, and so the wind farm blows anything and everything that could flavor the whiskey just completely off the map. What do you think?
It must be. Like, I don't.
You've driven through Indiana and seen the wind farms, right? There's a lot of them.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Kentucky we have hills, and there's always a creek or
a lot of stuff going on.
I imagine you get natural flavoring from all that, but this is like there's caramel.
Yeah,
that's obviously coming from the barrel.
100%. Yeah. Oh, where else would it come from, right? It's got to be however it's made. But it's it's very interesting. It's one dimensional. We haven't had many things we've tried that we think are just one dimensional.
I mean, I guess the 5 years is kind of like smoothed out the ethanol a little bit for being the proof, but it's just so surprising.
You got to give credit where it's due. So,
if that was what they were going for, they nailed it.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
It's just really interesting that it's like that.
And it's a single barrel pick.
I think that's the tough part, though, because I don't know how the pick process works. Yeah. Did they do it? Did somebody else do it? And was it something that how many people judged on it? Was it unlimited barrels?
Or did NULU just send in them 4 vials and they just picked the one they liked?
Yep, because I've been part of those kind of things and we know how that goes. Where I actually picked one time. The only the handful of times I've had to pick, it was for a local shop, and we had to taste like that. You know, they sent small bottles of 3-barrel samples, and I actually told the people who were in charge of getting the barrel that I would probably reject it and said, just don't get it altogether. And they were like, what? And I'm like, you don't have to get it.
Round 2?
Yeah, nothing compels you to buy it. Like, just tell them to send you more samples. But they bought it, and it sold out because it was a pick. But still, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this might be the same kind of thing.
What other 5-year MGPs are out there for other brands that maybe this can be similar to?
Oh my God. Well, unfortunately, in the past, we've talked about the fact that there's a lot of MGP bourbon on the market, but like it's you got original sourcers like Old Scout and OKI that OKI has been sold to another company.
Yep.
And they're putting out 5, 6, and 7-year-old bourbon. Old Scout's putting out 5, 6-year-old, and 7-year-old bourbon. You got rye being sourced by everybody, but MGP is like, I'm trying to think of all the other places. Jepson's, so flashback to a couple episodes ago when we talked about Jepson's and the fact that they have some amazing stuff there. And I tasted that pick from Mythical that I thought was amazing at 6 years. That was good. Down Home, Deadwood, Backbone. I mean, we could keep going. And I wouldn't even be able to cover them all. Like, there's so many companies that are sourcing young MGP bourbon right now that it's just almost like, I hate to say it, but it's like ubiquitous. Like, I could start Tony's Bourbon Company tomorrow because, you know, I'm Anthony, but I like to, you know, if I was going to start a bourbon company, it'd be Tony's Bourbon Company, and I'll get the finest bourbon, you know, barrels of MGP that you've ever seen, and I'll sell them to everybody who wants to buy them. And that's kind of like what the market is like right now. And it drives me a little nuts, to tell you the truth.
So it's like Old Scout, Deadwood, and the like, are they all same price point?
The price point's all over the place, but they are all closer to $50. It's not like anybody's selling for $30. They can't because those barrels are so expensive.
I mean, I guess a single barrel.
Yeah.
I don't know what those are, the other ones.
They're variations, but I've seen single barrel, I've seen blends, I've seen all kinds of stuff. Like, okay. I bet you there's probably 20 brands right now, at least, maybe more, that are sourcing MGP stuff. In fact, do you remember when we did that review of Penelope? At least Penelope bourbon, we liked that they were getting their recipe distilled at MGP, so it wasn't the same kind of thing where they're just buying an already distilled recipe from MGP.
They're just using their warehouse.
Yeah, they're using the warehouse, and they're getting them to distill their juice.
Yeah,
but so yeah, I don't know. Like, it's very hit or miss for this kind of stuff.
So Anthony, would you pass, try, or buy on the NULU single barrel bourbon?
The gentleman suspends his time and sends it back to the gentleman from over here. So I'm going to send it back to you.
All right. So this is one-dimensional.
Yep.
At $60+. It was pretty generic bourbon.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm going to spend $60 on generic bourbon.
Okay.
So I'm probably going to be pass.
Oh, no.
And even the other variances, I don't know how much they were interesting enough for me to even warrant money.
Yeah, you know what? I'm giving you a hard time, like trying to, but I can't really give you a hard time because I think you're spot on. I'm also going to be a pass. You know, I've had the only new,
but the only reason is because of the money, right?
Yeah, I mean, if this was $30 a bottle,
it'd be different. I think it'd be different. Like, okay, it's at $30, it'd be like, you know, we had a solid caramel bourbon that was easy to drink.
Yep.
Didn't burn, but at $60+, maybe even $75 for this pick, who knows? I don't know if it's worth that kind of money for something so, single dimensional.
Yeah, and think about every single mainstream bourbon that people like to drink. Evan Williams White Label, Wild Turkey 101, even Wild Turkey Rare Breed, right, which gets critical acclaim, which was absent from the shelves for a while and freaked everybody out. Now people are trying to make $10 on a secondary market. Like, hey, those of you who are flipping Wild Turkey out there, I love you a whole lot, but don't leave me a review on Apple Podcasts because I'm going to tell you where you can stick it. Sorry about that.
Up the turkey.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, that's just ridiculous. But those kind of things, like when you think about how much there is under $60 in the market, Why would you ever in the world pay for a 4 to 5 year old MGP unless the only one that I ever paid for would have been that Jepson's pick that I tasted. That was amazing. But that was, I bet you, 1 in 30 that's tasted like that.
I mean, you're getting the one note. I mean, yeah. I'll say a majority of the bottles under $30 would smoke this.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And 100%. Those would be easy. I mean, cheaper and easier to get.
Yeah.
I mean, nationwide, I would think.
Yeah, I'd rather drink Buffalo Trace. There's many things I'd rather drink that over than
a good BT
this.
pick would destroy this, I think.
And that's the thing, a good BT pick here, if you get it at a store, even the mom and pop, when I say mom and pop, the independent liquor stores, they're probably going to charge $40, $45 for a Buffalo Trace pick, which is still going to be underneath. You can get them for $50, $60 on a secondary market. It's going to be cheaper than getting this.
So this is basically the same price as a Weller Antique.
That's true. And you'd rather drink that, wouldn't you?
I would.
Yeah.
Even the proof is almost equivalent. So it's a little bit higher, but
yep.
I mean, my goodness. I mean, I'd rather drink a Woodford Rye.
Oh yeah,
for $32.
I know you'd rather drink a Woodford. I would too. I'd like to go revisit that night. Yeah. We had a good time when we were drinking that.
I mean, Elijah Craig Barrel Proof.
Oh man, Elijah Craig Barrel Proof remains, even though Kentucky distributors have raised the price of that. It's still pound for pound one of the best bourbons you can buy.
I know I'm just naming off a bunch of random bourbons, but it's just like
no. I get what you're saying. You're right in the realm of what I'm thinking too, which is this is treading into the premium category.
Yeah, and it's not. It's giving me basic.
Yeah, it's giving me basic
stuff, and
so
I just can't see myself in enjoying it for that reason.
I agree, man. We're in agreement. And I will say this, Steven, would you rather have Blanton's over this?
Are you serious? I'd rather drink Blanton's.
Of course you would. That's only $65 a bottle. So we're talking about even this is in the same range as Blanton's, and it's not even close.
Yeah.
Even if you're a person who hates Blanton's and calls it a tater drink.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those of us that like being spuds, and I like being a spud. Do you like being a spud?
Indeed.
Especially
when it's straight from the barrel.
Why not?
Yeah.
So spuds unite. We're going to drink our Blanton's, and we might not drink this NULU.
And with that, thanks for listening to this week's edition. Please like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Mashup KY. Also, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. Until next time, keep it neat.